We're here in Ottawa at the Arc Hotel. Christian Martin joining us. You're playing tonight. Pretty cold evening. Are you regretting your trip here because of the weather, or are you looking forward? Because I hear the venue is heating up pretty quickly.
I always love coming to Canada, so never any regrets. And it's always probably been colder than what it is tonight, so not afraid.
You know what? It's not too bad today, so which is nice because I'm used to trekking out through the events in the snow, and then you realize you get there and you still got big ass boots on and all that shit. Right. So makes it a little more challenging for it. What's the most extreme venue that you've ever played at before? Whether talking weather or crazy conditions in the venue, fog, smoke, lights.
Well, Calgary a couple years ago was minus 40 driving to Hi-Fi, and it was the hotel was around the corner also, but if you went the wrong direction out of the hotel, you would probably freeze to death before you got around the block. So I think that sticks out as probably the craziest.
You've been around and doing this for quite a while. Why don't you take us through what got you into electronic music at the start? Did you always sort of be a house or an electronica fan? Or I know a lot of people sort of were into hip hop and then they've shifted, or I've never heard of someone say country yet, right. But maybe you'll surprise me.
Right. I was kind of against electronic music until I went to college. I started playing piano when I was 5 and got into like school jazz band, and then I was in college jazz bands. And the way that I got into electronic music was coming back from a show with some of my bandmates, and there was a free rave being thrown at my college. So we just kind of stepped in, and it was like, oh wow, this is amazing. And then the next month, one of the same people that I was at that first rave with invited me to go into the middle of the Southern California desert in the back of a pickup, and that was one of the first few Moon Tribe parties, which is a Southern California collective that they would do a party every full moon. So I kind of fell in love like right away. I think it was mostly the bass weight and the sound system that they lugged out to the middle of the desert was just so impressive, and I got to hear that music in the scale that it's supposed to be heard, and that kind of flipped the switch. And from there it was just like a mission to consume more and see what I could find and see what I could learn. That was 95, and then that summer I moved to New York, so it was kind of like the perfect intro to like club life. And I got into drum and bass really early. I was a hip hop head from the beginning, but I like classic rock too when I got into college. So I had a wide range of musical interests, but I think it was the kind of synthetic impossibility of electronic music that was the new horizon that I could see, where there are these sounds that you would never achieve with organic instruments, and that was kind of like, okay, I want to find out more about this.
We'll come back to some more of the history and the journey in a bit, but do you ever find yourself kind of wanting to chase that first experience of in the desert? And I know I have ones where I'm going, you know what, yeah, it was one of the first ones, and they stick in your mind so well, and you're always looking for that experience again.
I don't think so, because my reality now has surpassed my wildest dreams of what I would have thought about back then. I never thought about that music would be a career. It was always in the background for me, and kind of like a foundation and something that helped my character and something that helped me meet people. And but the progression that I've seen with electronic music and that I've been able to be a part of is so incredible that I kind of try to look forward, unless I'm like digging for drum and bass, and then I went back to the first page of Beatport's drum and bass genre and started working my way back, and just like took a history lesson. So that, in that regard, I'm like, wow, there's so much I still don't know about the early days. But yeah, it's just an awesome thing to be part of, I think.
So take me back now to New York. You've just moved there, and you're really still immersing yourself in the scene. From then up until the point that you suddenly realized, oh, this might actually be a legitimate opportunity for me to be as a career. What are those steps that you went through there?
Well, New York, those were like summers. So I lived in there. I lived in New York in 95 and 96, and so I went to this party called Concrete Jungle that was like big drum and bass party, and then I just tried to find who was playing in different clubs, and found what clubs would let me in, and it was just about trying to consume as much music as I could. And so I graduated college in 98, and then I was in LA for a few years and still wanted to keep going out as much as possible. Like there was a Wednesday party called Release that was amazing. That was a house party. I didn't think about trying to make it into a career until much later, I think, because I bought the Dirty Bird sound system in 2003. And so in those in-between years, there was a lot of, I moved from LA to San Francisco in 2000, and there was a core group of us that would still drive down to the Southern California desert with a big sound system. It was just one of my buddies who had decided to get one. And so I was part of that community of people who wanted to do it their own way. And the reason that he did it is because he felt like the Moon Tribe Collective was like really trancing out at that point. So he knew a lot of house DJs, and he wanted to just hear music that he loved the whole time. But we had a few obstacles, and long story short, there was like 3 kind of party failures that we endured, and it was like a 9-hour drive one way to get down there. So I started thinking to myself, what if we were able to create our own event where if it failed, we're already at home? And I mean, that's a simplified version of it, but it was partially that, and it was partially wanting to have control and not wanting to jump into this hierarchy of San Francisco DJ insanity that I love, being a part of, but I couldn't see trying to like wedge my way in. And so when we started our collective, it was me, my brother Worthy, and Claude Von Stroke. I don't know if he was called Claude Von Stroke yet at that time, but we knew that if we stuck together, we would have a better chance of making something happen. It was just strength in numbers. So
there's the 4 of you that have all gone on to do some really good, awesome work. Is there someone in the early days that you could credit that has been very important and influential that maybe isn't around now, or is still around but not necessarily as prevalent as the other partners that you have?
Well, I don't think in our crew, I mean, we've stayed pretty close and kept it tight. I think we drew inspiration from the Sunset crew, which is Galen and Solar and Jaybird, and they were doing outdoor parties before I think I even moved to San Francisco. They were doing like the Berkeley Pier, and then they moved to Novato, to this amazing outdoor location. So we were witnessing what was possible with people that were loving that kind of party, and we didn't want to step on their toes and try to do it at that location or somewhere near. We wanted to do it like in San Francisco. So we really tried to set ourselves apart and scout a location that hadn't been trampled already. So Sunset was definitely an early inspiration, and just all the sound system collectives that I've come across in my journeys it always comes back to like bass weight and giant sound and the way that it moves air and how it makes people's faces melt. And that's always the ultimate goal, is to try to have those transcendent experiences with like subwoofers.
So I would take it that you may be a little torn between the difference of playing a main festival stage versus an intimate club.
Well, I think they both have their strengths. You can really make a connection with both if you watch the crowd and listen to, and pay attention to what people are reacting to. And sometimes it takes a little longer at a festival, but sometimes the sets are really short. So I feel like just listening and watching is some of the most important moves that I can make, trying to like make that connection.
Can you think of an event that was outside of your group throwing stuff or being directly involved that you got pulled into and that you said, wow, you know what? I'm really lucky to be here, and this is going to stick for a long time for me?
There's a party down in the Baja California Peninsula that was in these hot springs, and that was a pretty amazing party. Just the fact that they were able to get out so remote from I mean, it wasn't that far from San Diego, but it really kind of was. And that was definitely like, that was wild for sure. It was just to be able to have like hot springs in your camp and still feel safe and not like we were in the outskirts of, crazy Mexico. So.
Do you, I recently came back from BPM this year. I was at the venue, the Blue Parrot, before all the crap went down the day before. So I flew out, got back here to Ottawa, woke up to text messages asking, am I all right?
Wow.
So, surreal experience for me. Have you come across something like that of yourself, or you've, heard of places that you were there last month and then suddenly it's closed because there was an incident? And does that impact you in exploring places of where you choose to go?
I feel like there's a few places that are a little bit more sensitive than others as far as safety, but I kind of rely on my agency to vet that and make sure that I'm not getting into a dangerous situation. So I feel lucky that I haven't experienced some insane trauma like that. I mean, I remember one of the old Moonshine parties, this poor kid like fell off a rock and he died. Like he fell into a crevasse, and just we went from being at the party to, okay, everyone has to leave right now. And that was really like, a reality check of keep each other safe and look out for each other and, appreciate the present and appreciate your friends. And I don't know, that was very traumatic, but I think that was like 99. So that was before I even decided to kind of tilt back into music.
Pull away from a little bit of a downer there and move forward. So you joined together with the three others that you mentioned.
Yep.
How has the label process been? Has it been rocky times, or has it been in general a good ride with some good friends that you're happy to be along with?
It's been a good ride. I feel like there's a separation between the Dirty Bird events, because they were what laid the groundwork, and then the label started in 2005. So my focus has always been on the event side and trying to help that manifest. And I was always interested in, we started a monthly in San Francisco in, I think, 2006 or 7, and we funneled those profits back into the park party, so it wasn't like just a money suck for us. And that was kind of like where I got my pleasure, is making sure that the park party could happen and making sure that everything was good with the club night. So I feel like it's been kind of a surreal ride in the last few years, though, with the way that the barbecue's taken off, and now the camp out is kind of rolling along. So I just feel really blessed to be part of the crew still and seeing it all unfold.
How is it working alongside your brother? Is that something you sort of dreamed of, or did you grow up with him, at arm's length and hoping one of the two of you didn't get a black eye?
We had definitely a kind of an adversarial big brother, little brother relationship until I was a senior in high school and he was a freshman, and then we were both in jazz band together, and that kind of erased our differences, and we became really good friends, I think, from that moment. And it's a dream, to work with him and to be able to play him stuff that I'm working on and to be able to hear what he's doing. And, we just played a show in San Francisco last week. So it's been awesome. I never would have thought that I would be, chilling with my brother, doing the same thing in the same crazy industry, but I'm loving it.
All because of jazz band.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Is there something, and we can ask this here and you can be brutally honest and then show it to him because he can't answer back. Is there something you hate about him that he does?
No, I don't think so. I think, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing, but I think it's a good thing, actually, that his perfectionist streak, because that when he has something that's going out in the world, then it's going to be mind-blowing. And I always look forward to hearing what he comes out with next, and I try to, learn from his work ethic and try to apply it to my own.
If you weren't doing this, what do you think you'd end up be doing?
Oh man, I don't know. Well, before DJing, I was bartending to pay the bills to be able to DJ. So I was always kind of like, all right, well, this is a universal skill. So while I figure out what I want to do, this is going to pay my bills. So, but I kind of dove headlong into the music thing, I think, especially, after like 2007 and 2008. And I think that's around the time that I signed with Liaison. And so I've been with them for like 10 years now. So yeah, it's kind of like failure's not an option. That was our mentality.
Is there a little hidden hobby that you don't really tell people about, a little secret that you like doing?
Well, I love cooking, but it's not really a secret. We always try to have barbecues either at my house or there's amazing parks like right around the corner from where we live. So I love sharing that with people and basically picking out a giant cut of lamb or tri-tip or something that will feed a lot of people and figure out the best way to cook it. So yeah, cooking is my not so secret hobby.
We've just finished through 2016. A lot of people said it was a bit of a rough ride in general, but most people I've talked to have had a pretty good year. Was 2016 good for you, and what's looking forward for 2017?
Yeah, 2016 was actually good besides all the crazy news stuff that went down, but I'm really looking forward to just more shows and more amazing festivals this season. The offers are rolling in, and I feel really honored to play at some of these places that can't announce yet, but just trying to absorb more drum and bass and make more music and see where it takes me.
If you had a chance to go somewhere you haven't been before, country, city, where would that be?
That's a good question. I think I would probably try to check out Croatia. I think that would be a fun place. It seems like their festival scene is not saturated and terrible yet, so that's the kind of musical experience that I would want to go check out. And
being we're here in Canada, is there somewhere in Canada you really like playing? I mean, obviously after tonight, Ottawa, but anywhere else?
Well, we're starting the Mountain Magic Tour with my small town DJ homies from Calgary, and that has been going on for 5 years now, and almost every show on that circuit is incredible. I really love GLC in Whistler. Hi-Fi in Calgary, though we're not playing there this year. Fernie, the Northern and Fernie is amazing. Nelson is an incredible city. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to hanging with the dudes and dropping some tunes.
Awesome. And do you have a favorite Canadian producer or DJ?
Off the top of my head, I would say Conrad Black. I think he's got all the insane synths that I'm always like, how do you do that?
Awesome. And with that, you're on in a little bit here, so we'll leave you to it. And thanks so much for the time. I wish you all the best in 2017. And I'd love to get down and catch one of those parties in the park. That sounds really good.
Cool, man. Well, thanks a lot for having me.